Good morning. This webinar offers closed captioning. To enable closed captioning, click on the live transcript button on the bottom of your screen and choose your preferred method. Welcome to the Chicago Department of Business Affairs and Consumer Protection webinar. Please note any email that I mentioned will be posted in the chat box. For those seeking business licensing assistance, you can visit the Small Business Center at City Hall or call 312-74-GO-BIZ. Also, business licenses can be applied for or renewed online at chicagobusinessdirect.org. If you are part of the BACP Entrepreneur Certificate Program, you can get credit for joining this webinar by sending an email to bacpoutreach@cityofchicago.org. If you want to learn about the program, please visit chicago.gov/businesseducation. Also, this webinar is being recorded and will be available at youtube.com/Chicago BACP. I will post the mentioned information in the chat box. We encourage attendees to ask questions. Please use the chat box to send your questions. There will be a Q&A session at the end of the presentation. Please note that the views, information, and opinions expressed during this webinar are solely those of the presenter and do not necessarily represent the official policy or position of the Department of Business Affairs and Consumer Protection or the City of Chicago. Today's webinar will be Nuts and Bolts of Planning and Financial Readiness for Startups, presented by Tasha Brown, Director of the Midwest Region Small Business Majority. Tasha?
Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today. As Geraldine has announced, my name is Tasha Brown. I am the Midwest Director for the Small Business Majority, and I have to share with you all that talking to entrepreneurs about the financial nuts and bolts of their business is one of my favorite things to do. I am going to pace myself because we are having closed captioning, so I want to make sure that for those who are using closed captioning that it keeps up with my pace. We will have question and answers in the end, and I'm excited to get started. So again, welcome to the webinar. So I'm hoping that many of you all are already in business or thinking about going into business. If not, this information will still be helpful for you, okay? So let me tell you a little bit about the Small Business Majority. The Small Business Majority has been around for about 16 years, and our mission is to empower America's small businesses and the self-employed to ensure they are empowered to drive a thriving and equitable economy. We have a special focus on advancing the smallest businesses and those facing systemic inequalities. We do have a network of more than 85,000 businesses, and we have 8 offices across the country. We participate in advocacy, education and resources, and we have COVID-19 pandemic resources listed. So about our model is one where we spend a lot of time in research. As I mentioned to you all, we have over 85,000 business owners in our network. And so oftentimes we will poll them or conduct economic studies just to really understand and engage the small businesses owners' view and to speak to their bottom line. Regarding advocacy, we definitely enact change by elevating small business views in public policy debates. Education, we do partner with business groups and municipalities such as the City of Chicago to hold seminars and webinars to educate small business owners and to get their personal views. And of course, network. We use real small business voices with the lawmakers and the media. So we share those with the lawmakers and media. So in this presentation today, what I want to do is talk about why entrepreneurship. I want to look at how to start a business and talk about the business model and the business plan. I want to talk to you then about starting a business, the financial foundations for success, how to become legal on paper and avoiding business predatory lending. And then I'll share with you all next steps and resources. I do want this to be a workshop where you have pen and paper handy, and I'll give you a few exercises to do. Don't worry, as Geraldine mentioned, if you needed to access the recording to go back and work on those activities, you surely can do that through YouTube or through the recording. And then the other thing is this: if you see this particular webinar or any webinar on financial planning for your business, I want you to make sure you take it. You cannot have enough information on financial business for financial planning for your business. So let's answer that first question. Why entrepreneurship? I want you all to drop in the chat just really quickly. Why did you go into entrepreneurship, or why are you considering becoming an entrepreneur? And as you drop your answers in the chat, I want to talk to you about what we've heard. So small business ownership can provide the freedom to create income and build wealth. It provides opportunities for you to capitalize on business opportunities to earn income. Entrepreneurship creates a part-time endeavor to supplement other earnings, or it can be a full-time business to provide as a main source of income. Another reason why folks go into entrepreneurship is that they want to either be self-employed or a small employer firm for others. So we love the fact that we can have business revenue, we can have income to invest and save, which ultimately leads to wealth. But there are other things, and I'm glad you all are putting them in the chat. There are some folks who want to go in for work independence, to bring an unmet need to the community, to build wealth and self-employment, and to create wealth for myself and others. That's awesome. So there are a lot of reasons why we get into entrepreneurship. Like Lucy, we have a couple of different Lucys. I love this. My colleague actually had put this slide together before she left. And so she identified several Lucys that got into business. One was Lucy Foster in 1767 to 1845. She was enslaved in Andover, Maine as a young child. She became Lucy the entrepreneur after Hannah Foster bequeathed her $50, an acre of land, and a cow. So she made a place for herself in the business community of Andover by taking in sewing and possibly running a tavern for travelers en route to Boston. Then there was Lucille Bishop Smith, 1892 to 1985. She was the first African-American businesswoman of Texas. She created Lucille's all-purpose hot roll mix for a church fundraiser, but that grew and biscuits later served on American airline flights and in Lyndon Johnson's White House. Then we have Olivia Knox. She was the owner of Chez Olivia's salon in Chicago's Woodlawn neighborhood from the 1930s to 1960s on 63rd Street. So these women got into business, whether they were given the tools to do that, or they met an unmet need, or they wanted to help a mission, such as the one that Lucille Bishop Smith did with her church. But nevertheless, whatever they were motivated by, they became very successful and notable for their contributions as entrepreneurs. So then when we look at entrepreneurship, we have to ask the question, well, what drives revenue and income? And this is the thing that I really love to talk about. What drives revenue and income? Well, product or services that reaps revenue, customers and human resources, strategy for efficient operations, marketing to target client demographics and the channels they frequent, and financial planning tools such as business plan, break-even analysis, and cash flow projection. I'm going to say these words over again because one of the things that I found in my time as a business advisor with the Women's Business Development Center and also the Illinois Small Business Development Center is that a lot of business owners or a lot of entrepreneurs were really excited about the what that they're able to do. Like if they're able to bake cakes, if they're able to do party planning, events planning, if they're able to counsel, consult, whatever it is, they love the what of what they were able to do, but oftentimes did not have the financial planning tools that they needed in order to determine how they can do their business successfully. And so as we go through this presentation, you'll hear me come back to that thought again about knowing what you need, knowing the numbers that you have to have in order to have a successful and profitable business. So when we look at driving revenue and income, we have to look at the products or services that are being provided, but not those alone. We have to look at all of the operations that go into it, the marketing that goes into it, the financial planning, and also the customer and human resources, which can translate into customer service. Many of you all know that customer service can make or break a business, right? And so if you go into a business thinking about driving revenue, but not considering even something as fundamental as customer service, then you're not setting yourself up for the financial success that you would like. So now that we've looked at why entrepreneurship, let's start with this business model and the business plan. Now, before I go to the next slide, let me ask, how many of you all have done a business plan? If you have, just put in the comments, I have, yes, 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 or even no. If you haven't done a business plan, just drop it in the comments, your response, yes or no. Have you started or developed a business plan? Great, great, John, wonderful. Okay, that's okay if you haven't, Emma. Great, in progress, working on it. Awesome, good deal. Well, let's not yet. Well, let's talk about the business plan. For many of you all who have started, who haven't started, or who are refining their business plan, has it been a daunting task for you? Do you have a smiley face or a sad face when it comes to doing your business plan? So you can use an emoji. How do you feel? Let the emoji speak for you. How do you feel when you think about preparing a business plan? Yes, absolutely, absolutely. All right, good. Yeah, it happens to the best of us. So the reason why, we have these business plans, and the reason why we encourage folks to prepare them is because you need to know the services and products you're providing. You need to know how you're going to sell it. You need to understand how you plan to make money, and also work on the worksheets to help you shape your business model. And so here are a few ideas that you could use. There are many different templates to use for your business plan. The SBA had a very long plan on their website, but they also had a lean startup business plan. I want to encourage you, if you've never started writing a business plan, to not get the 30-page template, but to get something that's even a 1-page or maybe a 2-page template, so that you can begin fleshing out your thoughts. And so tools such as the business model canvas, the lean startup canvas, the idea napkin are all templates that you can use to help you get started. Let me give you an example. We're going to look at the idea napkin. So the idea napkin really is this 1-page tool to help you develop a business model. And it's just 5 fundamental questions, absolutely 5 fundamental questions that are here for you to answer. Who are you? What are you offering? What are your distinctive competencies? Who are you offering it to? And why does that person care? Have you all even asked those questions before? Many of you all who I'm sure have looked at business plans in the past have seen those questions that ask, what's the executive summary? What is the, I'm trying to straight up business.institute/toolkit. Yeah, so that's where you can look for it, Richard. But yeah, these questions are not always asked, right? These questions are not always posed to you. Like, who are you? What are you offering? What are your distinctive competencies? Who are you offering it to? And why does that person care? You'll notice that from these questions, or even if you look at the business model canvas, all of the questions differ, but it still gets to the same thing. What are you offering? What problem are you trying to solve? And how will you do it? And to answer the question, why does that person care, is very important. Why does someone care that you have the best pound cakes? Why does someone care that you have an online boutique or a brick and mortar boutique? Why do they even care? And so you have to make sure that you're thinking through those questions. And the idea napkin is a resource. If you can't find it through the link, just Google straight up business.institute and you'll see it. It's right there. So straight up business.institute, and it's there. So when we look at the business plan really helps you focus, plan, and adapt your actions when starting, operating, and growing your business. The business plan is an ever-evolving document, because as you look at the first bullet here, The business plan is there to help you test your business model and idea with your target market. And let's just say that after testing your idea, you realize you need to refine it, then that's fine. That's why you have your business plan to scratch out, to erase, and to do it again. But the business plan also guides your decisions based on time, money, and resources. Let me give you an example. If you've already invested time in research, you've gone to a Chicago Public Library, hopefully the one downtown the Harold Washington Library, where you're able to go, I think it's the 7th floor, but don't quote me, where they have the section for business. And there's a lot of databases available for you to research. So let's say you've done your research and you found that the best zip code for your business is, I'm going to use just one for an inference, 60612. And so here you've decided that you want to be in the West Loop. 60612 is where you want to be for whatever product or service you're offering. But then someone comes along and says to you, hey, listen, I really want to do something in rural Illinois, or I want to do something in another particular. Great, I'm glad you're there, Jessica. Let me know what floor that is. Confirm that for me, please. But yeah, I want to do something in this particular neighborhood. Well, if your business plan does not show that that's where you want to do business, then you can save time, money, and resources and be able to turn down what may be an opportunity for someone else, but just not one for you. But if you don't have a business plan, and if you're not thinking through or thinking about where you want to start or grow your business, then every time someone pitches an idea to you, or every time someone says, let's collaborate and let's do this or that, then it would take time, money, and resources away from that which you have designated them for. So a business plan also helps reduce risks to save money and time. It helps you understand your industry landscape demographics. It helps you identify whether your target customers are appropriate. It helps you market your business to the right customers, communicate and justify your business model to others, and it helps obtain business funding. Folks want to know that you have thought through as many aspects of your business as you can. And although there are a lot of talks about whether or not business plans are needed or not, I will encourage you to always have a plan. It may not be a 30-page plan. It might be a 1-page lean business plan, 2 pages, whatever, but at least know where you want to take your business. Because when you sit down to ask for funding, many lenders will ask if you have a business plan. They may not even want to review it, but they want to know that you've gone through the process of thinking through every aspect of your business. So looking at the types of business plans again, we have the traditional, which is very lengthy, detailed, comprehensive, and multiple pages. It's best used to take companies to the next phase of growth and development and of funding. It's often requested by investors and lenders when seeking large fund amounts. But then you have the lean business plan. Great, thank you, Jessica. On the 4th floor, everyone, make sure you visit the 4th floor of the Harold Washington Library to get resources for studying and researching your business. So thanks for that. So the lean business plan is short, high level, contains key elements and usually 1 page, is best used when the business model is relatively simple and will change, such as idea and startup business stages. So let's look at a lean business plan example using the business model canvas. Once you've gone from the idea napkin, I really like the business model canvas. So the way to use the canvas is actually to use it from right to left. Typically, we like to use it from left to right, but I'll tell you, I want you to use it from right to left. And let's just say, to not get caught in the weeds, if you are challenged with it, just fill in whatever box you can. So although it might be difficult to read for some of you all, I want to go through this business model canvas really quickly. So you start with saying, well, what are my customer segments? Who am I trying to target? Sometimes we know that before we know the problem that we're trying to solve. So, okay, who's my segment? In this particular example, we have post-pregnancy women, 25 to 35 years old, 100,000 plus is their total family income. We also look at midlife crisis career mom who's 40 to 50 and has over 120,000 in income. And then we want to look at group fitness, women 20 to 60 years old, 50 to 90,000 family income. So there are three different segments. Okay. It's not just, oh, I'm going to sell to everyone. No, I'm going to sell to different segments of the population. And I want you to think about the people that you want to sell to. I've heard many times before when I would ask the question, well, who is your ideal customer? I will always hear someone say everyone. Well, the reality is everyone is not your ideal or target customer. You might want the customer who is financially savvy if you are a financial planner, or you may want the one who's looking at retirement, 45 plus, who's looking to make investments, single parent household or dual income, whatever it is, you want to drill down those demographics and establish a segment. Now, again, this person, for this example, we have three segments. So there are three different categories of people that they're trying to reach with this trainer nutritionist business. So she wants to get the post-pregnancy women, 25 to 35, midlife crisis career women, 40 to 50. And for her group fitness, she wants women 20 to 60. And her, the income is very important in this example. So then she answers the question, the unfair advantage. What can't be easily copied or bought for her from her business? Well, she has 12 years of competition with serious training. That can't be bought by anybody else. She has 3 major awards. This is Susan. And then she's the mom of 2 and career woman. She's been there, done that. So she knows what she has to give her the advantage over anyone else. You too have to recognize, what you have. For those who are looking to leave a full-time job to go into entrepreneurship, what did you do in your full-time job? Were you a project manager? Were you an advisor? Were you the one who kept the books, managed the grants? I mean, what are those things that you bring to your business? And then the channels, how she wants to connect with her customers through the local gym, through Facebook ads and word of mouth. So who I want to reach, why I should be the one reaching them, and how am I going to reach them through my channel? So those first 3. Then we get to the middle of the page, which is basically, what is your value proposition? And so Susan's value proposition is that she's a gregarious, single career mom that has seen more downs than ups, yet still maintains stellar attitude, nutrition, physique, and overall health. She's trained more than 200 people and have only pleasant testimonials. So she's like, my value proposition, I identify with you. I've been there, I've done that. I have pleasant testimonials. This is what I bring. The value proposition can even go further to really talk about, I help save time, save money. I help you get your focus back. Or for those who have staffing agencies and you want to help business owners, so you staff them with assistance. Well, I help you save time. I help you save money. I give you back more time for you to focus on what matters most to you. So that's the value that I bring to you. For you all, the BACP and Small Business Majority, the value that we bring is that we provide you no-cost resources to help you grow your business. BACP brings in quality partners to help you understand finances, business strategies, et cetera, et cetera. And so consider what value you bring when you're thinking about developing your business. Again, going beyond, oh, I make a mean pound cake. What's the value for that pound cake? What is the unique value proposition you bring? Oh, I help gather families around a nostalgic moment, right? There's nostalgia around pound cake because most people talk about their grandmother's pound cake. So I help people connect with their family through my bakeries, or for those who are in boutiques, in fashion. Well, I help people feel their ultimate best as they sit around the conference table, right? And so think about your unique value proposition. Now, before I go to the left side of the page, I'm going to drop down to the box that has revenue streams. And so you have to look at, well, how am I going to generate this money with this business plan? And so for this particular example, we see that Susan will have one-on-one training sessions. She will have those 3 sessions a day at $90 an hour, which would give her $5,400 a month. She did the math all the way through. That will equate to $64,800 a year. Her group sessions, if she averages 15 people at $10 an hour each, 2 times a week, it would give her $1,200 a month, which is $14,400 a year, for a total revenue of $79,200. Now, again, revenue, that doesn't include expenses. So this is how she would generate her money. For those who are saying, oh, I want to generate $1 million in revenue a year, then I would say to you, back that all the way out. $1 million in revenue a year, how many days a week will you be open? Because many of you probably won't be open 365 days. So if you're not open 365 days a year, how many days will you be open? Then that means how much do you need to sell a day in order to hit that $1 million mark a year? So revenue streams, how do you intend to generate that money? If you are the baker, are you just going to sell pound cakes by the whole, pound cake slices, mini cupcakes? You know, are you going to sell packages? So I need to sell a package of mini cupcakes and 1 cake for $75 a day. I need to sell 15 of them a day for 5 days a week to get X amount of money per week, which translates to X amount of money per year. So think about the different streams of revenue in order for you to build and move this business along. So customer segments, the advantage you have, the value proposition, and how you do it with the revenue streams. Then we go over to what's the solution you want to provide. In this one, they want to provide a personal expert at recovering from pregnancy. The solution they want to provide for the midlife crisis women is to have an all-in-one stop for training and nutrition knowledge. And what they want for the group is positive motivational support or approach and support. So that's the solution she wants to provide. What's the problem? Well, post-pregnancy weight issues, post-pregnancy motivation issues, lack of knowledge of weight training and nutrition. And so there's some alternatives. So she's identified what her competitors are: Jenny Craig, Weight Watchers, Planet Fitness. But she knows that even in those particular spaces, the woman may be challenged and may not want to be in those arenas. So then the key metrics, how will she measure her activities and success? Well, she'll measure it through online visitors. How many people hit her website? She'll measure it through Facebook Insights. She'll look at the analytics to see how many people are pinging her, how many people are coming to her website, how many people are signing up, how many people are using the coupons. So all of these metrics are so necessary when it comes to building out your business. And you need to think about it in advance. Some metrics that you all may be able to use. Well, let me ask this first. If you can put in the chat, a few of you all put in the chat what type of business you're looking to operate or you currently operate, we can quickly explore the types of metrics that you would use to measure the key activities. And while you're putting that in the chat, I want to look at cost structure, which is the last part of this canvas. So the cost structure, customer acquisition costs. Do you all know that it takes more money to bring in one new customer than it does to keep your current ones? Listen to this again. It costs more money to bring in a new customer than it does to maintain your current one. And so when you think about your cost structure and customer acquisition costs, Facebook ads, she wants to budget $100 a month, which is $1,200 a year. For hosting her website is $400 a year. For the gym that she needs to rent, it's going to be $9,600 a year. And for the gas, she's estimating $200 a month, $2,400 a year. If we had to do it this year, that probably would be multiplied by 3. So for some of you all, key metrics, looking at the daycare center, it might be the number of parents who comes to an open house, or for your summer camp, the number of people who enroll. For the bakery, I think you kind of got some of those things I mentioned earlier, Gloria, with the bakery, how many people are hitting the websites? How many folks are ordering? With the skincare, how many people are coming to your classes? You want to measure these different things. For the spa, how many folks are, downloading coupons or using coupons to come to the spa, or how many are buying products? So you want to look at these key activities and metrics to help you make sure that you are on track. But the lean canvas, the lean business model canvas, can really help you think through those things, okay? Now, you saw at the bottom of this slide with cost structure, there were a few items that were budgeted out, but now we're going to look at a traditional business plan for a restaurant business. So this is pretty extensive. This is one of the ones that would have a lot more detail than a business model canvas, because in a traditional business plan, you have to have a lot of items spelled out, especially if it's a high startup rate type of business, a high startup cost business. So for the restaurant, here's a little secret: a lot of lenders do not lend for you to start a restaurant, because the research has shown that a lot of restaurants close within a short amount of time. And so lenders really don't see that as viable as you may see it. Does it mean it's not a viable business? Not at all. It just means that you have to have a little bit more involved in the development of your business plan when you're talking about opening a restaurant. And so in this particular example, we see that there's the summary, there's a listing of the services, there's the market analysis summary. And so you really want to make sure that the market is identified. If you're looking to open a restaurant, open an ethnic restaurant, if you would, but you haven't seen anything like that in the area, nor do you see any items in the ethnic aisles at the local grocery stores. You could say that maybe it's a good opportunity to bring that, or it could signal that maybe that's not a good opportunity because there is no need for those things. It's like going to, so yeah, I'll just leave it at that. So there might not be a need for it. So you have to conduct a market analysis. And part of it may include you testing the market with having a pop-up shop to offer these ethnic foods at a farmer's market or at a local, again, pop-up shop, and seeing their response to it. If you go to that particular area and no one is quote unquote biting, or no one's coming in to buy what you want, and you've done in a pop-up shop, and you know that you've saturated the market as much as you could with marketing, then that tells you that maybe I don't need to bring the restaurant or the shop, whatever it is, here. So make sure you conduct your market analysis. And then there's the strategy and implementation summary. So through this, the person is talking about their competitive edge, their main competitors, their marketing strategy, their sales strategy, pricing and profitability, average table turn estimate, and their sales forecast. Then they get into the management. I'm going to have a sous chef, and I'm going to have a head chef, right? And this head chef has done this over in New York, and my sous chef is straight from Italy. And so they would really help me as I build out this Italian restaurant in this particular area. So that your financial plan, you have to look at assumptions. And if we have a little time towards the Q&A, I do want to delve into assumptions, because one of the frustrations that I heard from a lot of clients when I would talk to them about doing a business plan, when they don't have any prior sales, it's hard for them to forecast, well, how am I supposed to know what my budget should be for next year? Well, that's where forecasting comes into play. That's when you start to somewhat dream about what you will want it to be, but then you look at how everything else is trending. So for example, I can forecast that next year I'll sell maybe 25,000 of my phone chargers, because I know that Samsung is coming out with another model that still uses this particular C chord. So if I'm a C chord manufacturer, I can say, well, based on the industry and based on what's happening in the world, I know that my charger will be even more desirable. So we're going to increase production by 10, 15, 20%, because I'm taking in information from other things that are happening. And that's where forecasting comes into play. I want to repeat that. It's about taking in information from other sources. It's not just having a wish list for yourself, but it's saying, well, what's happening with imports and exports? What's happening with production? What's happening with plastics? If again, for my scenario, what's happening with metals? Am I able to get them readily or not? And so when you take in all this information, what's happening with the prices of eggs or milk, if I'm doing the bakery and the pound cakes, or if I am doing some of the other things that you all named, you have to look and see what's happening in the market and how will that impact my business. And that's where you start to do the forecasting. So you write out those assumptions and you start your funding requirements. You start looking at what is required for me to start this business. What is my break-even number? Meaning that once I've purchased all this inventory, what would it take for me to sell? How much do I have to sell off? Excuse me, in order for me just to break even. So that's what the break even analysis is all about. What's my projected profit and my projected loss? What's my projected cash flow? Cash flow is so important. Cash flow allows you to understand if you're invoicing people for services. I think I saw someone who does some services here, video and media production. If you're invoicing people for video and media production, how often are you turning out those invoices so that you can make sure you're getting paid consistently? Because cash flow is important. You need to make payroll. You need to meet certain expenses you have monthly. And so having your cash flow or knowing your cash flow is very important. And then also the projected balance sheet, how much money will you have on hand at any given point? And then of course, the exit strategy and risks. And so there's an appendix with all of these documents that may not be listed in the actual body of the business plan, but they'll be at the end and in the appendix. But this is something that's a little bit more developed and more rich and robust. So I'm just going to take a pause here. I know that's a lot. We've talked about why entrepreneurship, and we've just looked at the business model and business plan. We haven't really gotten into the financial foundations, but I want to make sure that we're clear. So yeah, and I see, and I'll address some of these questions and comments, and I truly appreciate it. So keep them coming in the chat. I'll address them more specifically towards the end. But thank you all for staying with me on this. So let's go to the next part. So now that we've kind of entertained why we want to do it, we've looked at some really easier plans, right? We've taken the step to look at the idea napkin or the business model canvas. We pretty much have a great sense of what we're doing and where we're going. Now we want to launch our business. So let's talk about that. You will hear me and other people tell you this: make sure to not commingle your funds. The best way to separate yourself from your business is to financially organize your business. And the way to do that begins with establishing a business bank account. Make sure that you have a business bank account, and you can get that business bank account by registering your business with the local Secretary of State and making sure you get an EIN number, which is an employer identification number from the IRS. Once you have your, what they would call articles of incorporation from the Illinois Secretary of State, so from the state level, once you get your articles of incorporation, you will be able to take those along with your EIN, which comes from the IRS. It's federal. So you have your state document and your federal EIN. Once you have those two items, you're able to go to any bank of your choosing and open up a business bank account. So when you have your business bank account, make sure you use budgets. Thank you for that information, Winter. Good, good, good. Make sure you have your budget and make sure you're maintaining organized record keeping and files. keep those receipts. Make sure you document all the expenses that you have for your business. And as much as possible, try not to commingle the affairs, meaning that you have your business bank account, but you're buying your personal food out of that account, or vice versa. You're paying for business expenses out of your personal account. That might happen in the beginning as you pay for your articles of incorporation, because you don't have a business bank account at that moment. But after you're able to establish your business bank account, make sure you put money in that account so that you can pay for business related expenses. I'll repeat it a little bit, I think in a slide ahead. So again, financially organize your business. So the business bank account, separate your business checking and savings account from personal accounts. Track business income and expenses separate from personal, and save for business cash reserves. A cash reserve is money you can quickly access for use as a cash buffer in adverse cash flow situations. Now, this is not me telling you what to do, but I will give you an example of what other business owners have done. I've heard other business owners open up 3 accounts. One would be a checking account for money that they will hold. The other one will be for operations. So they will put all of the money that they need to operate monthly in one account, and everything extra, I guess you would say like the reserve, in another, and then also have a savings account. And so one of the reasons why I've heard that business owners have done an operating account, and I forget the other name for the other one, but let's just call it the reserve account, is because in the event that your account is compromised, you don't want to be wiped out totally. So having this reserve account and an operating account really allows you to protect yourself in the event that someone attempts to gain access to your accounts. So when it comes down to it, why should you separate your finances? Well, we have something called the IRS. So taxes, you have to pay taxes. You want to track business expenses. They can be tax deductible, so keep your receipts. You have to file your taxes. And so if you make $400, and right now, if you're using PayPal or Venmo, anything over $600 will be automatically reported to the IRS. So they will generate a 1099 for you and send it to you at the end of a calendar year. And so self-employed individuals, they file taxes using Form Schedule C on their personal income tax, because the IRS classifies self-employed as independent contractors. And so when it comes time to filing your taxes or working with your tax planner, it would be great if you give him or her either your cash, I'm sorry, what I'm thinking of, a profit and loss statement, so they can see at a glance all of the expenses you've had for the year, how much you generated in revenue, but how much went out as expenses, and what you would ultimately be paying taxes on at the end, okay? So track business revenues. How much money has come into your business this year? How much have you made? That's the revenue. Then you have the expenses, right? Everything that you have paid out or that you owe. And then you have, after that, the profit or the loss. So as revenue minus expenses will leave you either with your profit or your loss for the year. You should always know that number. And you can do a profit and loss statement quarterly, monthly, or however frequently you would like to. But it's important to have and track those expenses so that you would know, I've generated this much in revenue, but my expenses total this much. And as a result, I'm left with this amount. Okay. So why should you separate your finances again? Personal liability and security. If you are a legal entity such as an LLC or a corporation, then it's required that you have separate financials. If you are using a business employer identification number or EIN instead of a personal social security number, that will help you protect your identity. So It's easy to get an EIN. Again, you just go to the IRS's website and they'll ask you for information. You put it in there and it will generate an EIN for you. But that certainly is a way to establish yourself as separate from your business. The business has a name, right? It's Tasha Brown LLC. But Tasha Brown LLC is different from Tasha Brown. Me as an individual is one thing, but my entity or my LLC is something different. And so for you, make sure that you are protecting your personal liability. If something happens with your company, then your company will be sued or can be sued, but your person will have some level of protection. I'm not an attorney or a tax advisor, so I want to put that disclaimer out there. And so I would love for you all to check in with your attorney or your tax advisor to understand the limits of your liability. That's why it says it's a limited liability company. There's limits to that, but make sure you understand those limits and you're protecting your person and your personal property as much as you can by not piercing what they call the corporate veil by commingling your finances. Okay. So moving right along. So budgets are very important to this process. They help you prioritize, plan, and control your business expenses against business revenue and income. So let me give you an example. If you know that you're going to, if you're planning to generate 1,000 in revenue a month, which is a little low, but just go with me so I can do some fast math. 1,000 in revenue a month, and you are saying, well, I'm going to budget $50 in marketing, $50 in gas. So we're already at $100, and $50 and whatever else. That will help you maintain a budget and maintain the limits of your expenses. You want to make sure you have a budget. Now, a startup budget is very different from an operating budget, because with a startup budget, there are going to be some costs that are in the initial stages of your startup, and many of them will be one-time expenses. It won't be ongoing expenses. So the startup budget is one thing, but the operating budget is something different. It's costs and expenses that you would incur to operate business daily. And these are ongoing fixed and variable costs. So let me give you an example of a daycare center. Okay. So daycare center. Example, this is not hard, fast. This is not what it is. This is just an example. So educational supplies, the equipment, the toys, the books, the bookcases, the shelves, all of that, the cots, everything comes out to $4,700 for 76 children. The marketing costs, you have the business cards and the flyers, the website, that comes out to the $345 and the $575. Then you have other furniture, right? You have the fencing that needs to go up, the mats, the cribs, the smoke detectors, fire extinguishers, computers, CD player, printer, all these other pieces. These are things that you will have to have up front. You won't be paying every month for a fire extinguisher, or every month for a smoke detector, or every month for a computer. These are those one-time costs. The outdoor equipment, the furniture, playground equipment, these things will be, again, those that you pay upfront one time. You might have to upgrade them, hopefully not every month, but there might be a time where you have to upgrade them or get them cleaned. So those expenses will need to be wrapped into your operating budget. But for purchasing these items upfront, this is what you would do. The kitchen equipment and supplies, housekeeping, office furniture, etc. Let me show you the next slide so we can. Then you have the, let's go here. There we go. The administrative expenses, the utilities, deposit on the utilities, buying the business phone, the licensing fees, any insurance you have to pay, all of that. And then the working capital for 8 months, which is the $31,000. Your subtotal one-time costs are $83,000. The contingency, just in case something else happens, we factor in about 15% for contingencies. That's another $12,000. Now you're at $95,485 in startup costs alone. Okay. So yes, rent and utilities are those fixed costs. Food costs will vary. We don't know what the cost would be from month to month right now with our current situation. And so again, I know this might be a little hard to read, but this is a 12-month business budget. And this is actually from a Smart Sheet template. So if you don't have Smart Sheets, that's not a problem. Just go online and look for business budget. Microsoft Excel has templates. Smartsheet has one. I know the Women's Business Development Center has one. If you are a client with them, I believe there might be some resources through BACP as well. And so you want to make sure that you are working with a budget. I absolutely love working with these budgets. This is one of my favorite things to do with those who are looking to start or grow their business, because I wanted them to have the financial numbers, the numbers they needed to understand how to start or grow. So get one of these worksheets and play around with it. Outline all of your expenses, the rent. We have at the top revenue, what's budgeted and what's the actual. The cost of goods sold, that's for those who have some products. So how much does it cost for your goods to be manufactured? So you have to factor all of those in, such as the material, the labor, third party, the bottles, the labels, all of that. Factor that in, write that into the budget as well. So you have the budget and the actual. Sales and marketing, labor, wages, admin, other equipment, rent, etc. Now this one has the actual and the budget. Some examples have actual and budget more so in the columns than the rows. Whichever one works for how you work, get it. We're not going to pigeonhole you into using a particular template. Get a template that works for you. At the end of the day, it's about looking at these expenses, documenting them, and getting an idea of how much it will cost for you to operate your business. So going back to this operating budget example, we had what we needed in the beginning, which was about $95,000. But then we see on any given day or any given month, excuse me, actually we have it here as totals, I'm sorry. Any given quarter, you can see what all the expenses are. And at the end of the year, I can see that we've done 45 in revenue, 20, we budgeted 45, but we only brought in 21. And I'm not going to get in the weeds with this. Let me just kind of keep it at a level of just saying, work through scenarios. Hey, I want to budget. I want to project that every month I'm going to bring in 5,000 in revenue. Put that down. That will turn into 60,000 a year. Every year, I'm going to budget on here that I'll spend 200 in sales and marketing a month. Okay, so that leaves me with 2,400 for the year. So I deduct that 2,400 from the 60. I think you all see where I'm going with this. Use these sheets and these operating budgets to really help you get a good, sound financial picture of how much you need to sell in order to meet your revenue and your profit goals for the year. So having a budget helps with that. So let's keep going. So now that we've done the bank accounts, the budget, having this structure, I need to move this along, having this structure, becoming legal on a legal business on paper. We already talked about registering with the Illinois Secretary of State. That's what you'll see in number 1 on this slide. I talked about the IRS and the EIN, which is number 2. Determine if you want to be an LLC, an S Corp, a sole proprietor, or a C Corp. And the best way to get that information is to do your research. And if you have access to an attorney who can give you information, or even an accountant who can help you best structure your business, then do that. You want to make sure that you have the best business structure that will serve your needs, okay? So once you've done number 1 and number 2, decide on your structure, your name, you register it, you get your EIN, get accounting software as you can, if you can, right? Some folks may not need to come out the gate getting accounting software, but if you have a lot of revenue, if you're moving a lot of money monthly, then I would say have some type of software to help you track what you're getting, recording your financial transactions. Open up a business account. That's again, reiterated from earlier. Purchase equipment and materials, open doors, start sales, create revenue. You want to do all that stuff. You want to make sure that people know that this is a viable business. I am going to, QuickBooks is a good one to use as well. Let me see if I need to do this. I'm not going to go through Roxanne Rockstar. Let me just see real quick. Maybe I could. I think I can. So Roxanne Rockstar, she just got her plumbing license. She completed her apprenticeship program. She wants to leave her job and start her own business. But before she has to do that, she has to obtain, she has to take the steps to become legal. And so she wants to get an LLC using her own name. So she checked online to see if her name was taken or not. It wasn't. She filed the necessary paperwork. She paid her fee. She became an LLC. She obtained her EIN. And then she got a record keeping system with accounting software, opened up a business bank account, and presented her business structure and paperwork and EIN. And now she is on her way to finding other resources to help her. So she can find help through the city of Chicago. The city of Chicago, and Geraldine will come back to talk about it more, but has all of these small business neighborhood development centers. I forgot the newest one, Geraldine, but it'll come back to me. But you have all of these resources available. So with Roxanne, she saved $2,000 in her personal bank account for equipment. But before spending money on her business, she transferred that to her business bank account. She used her financial record keeping system to record that her business received owner invested capital of $2,000. And now she can spend money on her equipment. So this is documented on her financial statements because she needs to show this at the end of the year to her accountant so that when she files her taxes, it shows that she took $2,000 from her personal and invested it into her business. So record keeping will help you do that. It is the key to establishing and operating your business and saving you money and finding funding. When you go to a bank or any what we call microfinancing, when you can go to a CDFI, Community Development Financial Institution, they'll want to know, how have you spent your money? They want to check your bank records. They want to see how you are documenting your expenses. So make sure you keep that organized. So keep organized financial records. I don't think I can say that enough, okay? Last bullet, let me make sure I highlight this. We talked about this already, but having a budget. I mentioned to you a cash flow statement, a profit and loss statement, and a balance sheet. Cash flow lets you know what money is coming in this week and what's going out. What money is coming in this month, what's going out. Profit and loss lets you know I made this money, but I had this number of expenses. And so I'm left with either this profit or this loss for this month, for this quarter, or for this year. You can do that profit and loss statement at whatever frequency, but minimally try to do it quarterly. So again, here are all my expenses. My revenue, here are all my expenses, and I'm left with a profit or loss. And then of course, the balance sheet lets you know how much money I have on hand at any given point. So financial record keeping, track receivables and track payables. This is for the person who is preparing invoices. People will have to pay you, right? And so those are your account receivables. So folks are paying you, this payment is due to you if you are a construction company or you repair or remodel residential homes. You might get your money the same day that you complete the job. But if you're working in a commercial space, they may have net 30. Net 30 days means they're going to pay you in 30 days after you've invoiced them, or net 45, they'll pay you in 45 days. So those are your receivables. You need to be able to track those because it really is money that's owed to you. So that's why it sits as an asset on your financial statement, okay? And payables, who do you owe? You know, payments your business owes, the debts, the rent, mortgage, taxes, payroll, and benefits. So make sure you track your receivables and your payables. If you, I'm going to come to that. If you use a business credit payment, well, I need to get more information on that. Let me address that in the Q&A. So for non-financial record keeping, keep organized records of legal documents to help you establish your business, build credit, and find funding opportunities. Let me tell you this, if you are going after certification, if any of you all are looking to be certified with the City of Chicago, which has a reciprocal agreement with Cook County, if you are looking to be certified with the state of Illinois, if you're looking to be certified with the federal government through the SBA, or if you're looking for corporate certifications, it is so important that you all keep record of all of these legal documents, your tax records, your bank records. I used to throw bank statements away or shred them first. But when I started banking with local banks who did not have online portals, it became really hard trying to pull down bank statements. So if your bank, if it's a local bank, a smaller bank, and they send you your banking statements, keep them. Sometimes they come even with 3 holes already punched, so you can put them in a binder. But keep those documents, your certificates, your licenses, permits, registrations, all your incorporation documents, your EIN number, any contracts, or if you are an LLC and you have, oh my goodness, I just forgot the name of it. I want to say operating agreement. I think it's the operating agreement. If you have that, if you're LLC, the operating agreement determines who does what. If we're a 2-person LLC, am I a managing member? What's my role? What's my function? That needs to be kept together with all your legal documents, because it's going to be so important when you start to go after funding, go after certification, or whatever. You need to have those legal documents. So tips to manage your time to meet your goal. I'll have this here, take a snapshot of it really quickly because I have a few more things I want to go through. So I'm not going to read through each of these, but find different ways to manage your time. So again, take a screenshot really quickly. You see some of the ideas here using technology, calendar, et cetera, et cetera. Okay. Next, I want to just talk really quickly about business predatory lending. Business predatory lending. Okay, guys, listen. We really want to make sure that folks know and understand how to borrow money, okay? Predatory lending is truly a growing problem. Online lending is an option for small businesses. If you've gone online with some of these cookie settings on your computer, if you look at one loan product, you might start to see ads for others. So predatory lending is a growing problem with dishonest online lenders that disguise high rates, fees, and costs and have unclear terms. It's to the point where you would have, you can risk losing your business, your home, your savings, and your business could be bankrupt. I want you to look at this. Predatory online lending sometimes has interest rates as high as 36 to 4,000% interest. That is staggering and astonishing. And those fees and that rate presents themselves in different little things that they have, one fee here, another fee there, here's a high rate, but then here's the cost of opening that loan, or here's the cost of closing that loan. When you add up all the costs and when you add up all the interest rate, oftentimes it leads to a grotesque number, a grotesque percentage. So non-predatory online lending is somewhere around the 3 to 36% interest rate range. Yes, it does go as high as 36%, but not over that, right? For non-predatory online lending. Yeah, it really is. We've seen a lot. We've seen a lot happen. And so here for women and minority owned firms, they face the most significant barriers because they're typically smaller in size. They start with less capital. They have lower approval rates for bank loans, and they have rate, or when they do get approved, is for a smaller dollar amount. And so they're most vulnerable to predatory lending. I mean, think about it this way. If a bank has turned you down and you're like, but I really want to open up my business, and you see this ad pop up on your computer where you can get $100,000 right now. But at the end of it, after the loan has, matured or whatever, you end up paying over $500,000 just to pay it back. It's that sickening, but it happens. I just want you all to know, if you are a startup, the loan levels are very low. The loan levels are low. The most that I've seen, I believe, is around 75,000, maybe 100 from our CDFIs, which again are community development financial institutions. So the CDFIs, they do write out loans. Sometimes folks can only get a $2,000 loan and they're frustrated, and they can only get that because their credit may not be right, or their debt to income is too high, or they don't have a means of income. And that's where I really want to take a moment real quick to talk about that. I'm not the access to capital person, but what I will say to you is this. For those who are looking to quit their day job because they see entrepreneurship as a way to be self-employed and to do what they want to do, I want to encourage you to understand that whenever you go after a loan, whether it is with a CDFI, what we call a micro lender, or even a bank is going to want to know, they want to know, can you service this loan? Essentially, what a bank wants to know is, can you pay me back? And so if you don't have any income, then more than likely they will not write the loan. So I really encourage individuals who are in the beginning phases of entrepreneurship to hold on to whatever job they have and get the loans that they need at that moment to start their business, because now you have the income. You can show that you have a job. You can show that you have something coming in to pay back a loan. So keep that in mind. Again, folks want to know, are you going to be able to pay this loan back if I loan you this money or lend you this money? So since these groups are very open and vulnerable to predatory lending, we want folks to know as much as possible to avoid predatory lending. So there are some alternative online lenders. There are a new breed of online lenders who are innovating small business lending, and they're exploring new options for entrepreneurs. So they have some streamlined application processes, quick approval and delivery of funds. They use technology and social data to assess your risk. But online lending is largely unregulated. So typically, they have higher interest rates than banks. So not all online lenders are equal, and some mask very high rates. So you must proceed with caution. So we have what's called the Small Business Borrowers Bill of Rights. We believe in responsible lending. And so there are 6 principles attached to that. Your right to transparent pricing and terms. Ask how much will it cost for me to repay this loan? Are there any prepayment penalties? What am I looking at? How much am I borrowing, but what will I pay back? If I'm borrowing, how much am I borrowing? But for the interest rates, how much would I pay back? So they'll say, oh, it's a $10,000 loan. But at the end of the loan period, once you've paid all of the interest and penalties and fees, whatever, you might be paying back $25,000. That's a lot. So you have a right to transparent pricing and terms, non-abusive products, responsible underwriting, fair treatment from brokers, the right to inclusive credit access, and the right to fair collection practices. So check out responsiblebusinesslending.org for more information. So be cautious when considering online lending, especially merchant cash advances, brokers, and invoice factoring, and unregulated in-person lending. Okay, please be careful. The other thing, have an understanding of where your credit is. Understand where you are. Know your financial picture before even getting started. We all know about the 5 C's of credit. If you don't know, they're here. But do that on yourself. Look at your character. What's my credit history? Am I repaying my debts on time? What's my cash flow? Do I have money to repay the loan? What capital do I have? Do I have anything already that I can invest in my business? Do I have 10,000 saved? Do I have, 5,000 here? What collateral do I have? What property or assets do I have that I can pledge as security? And conditions. What's happening with my industry? What else is going on that might impact my ability to get a loan or to start a business in this particular industry? But do that assessment. Again, I would say if you can do all of this before leaving a job to go into full-time entrepreneurship, then do it. But even if you've gotten into full-time entrepreneurship and you're still having these challenges, then I would say go back to the drawing board of your business plan and look for other ways to generate revenue because you want to bring money into the business. Okay. A couple of things that affect your credit score. Those are here. Take a quick picture because I'm not going to go through all of them, but you all see it, payment history, et cetera, the types of credit. Ways to manage your credit, decrease expenses and save money for your home. Definitely live below your means if you can. Access capital and credit for your business and increase financial wellness and mental well-being as you grow your business. At the top of this webinar, I said, if you've heard this before, if you've seen this or any webinar that you see on financial management of your business, take it because it's a way to increase your financial wellness. It's a way for you to see what's required for you to have a business that you manage well. Okay, so make sure you're decreasing your expenses and saving money for your home and your business because I want to say it this way, what I've shared in advising before, think about it this way. When you are working and you have an income, your income is used to cover your household expenses. But when you get into business, you need your business income to pay you so that you can pay for your household expenses. And the business needs to be able to cover its own expenses. So now you're layering the types of resources that you need. Again, let me say that again. When you're working, for the most part, many of us use our income to cover our household expenses. But when we go into business, we need our business to not only just cover the business expenses, we need our business income to cover us so that we can cover our household expenses. Does that make sense? Are y'all with me? Let me just see something in the chat so I know that you're with me. Okay. So a few more slides really quickly. Resources and next steps. Okay, great. I'm glad it came through. Perfect. All right. Because sometimes I try to get that across and it's kind of hard for folks to hear. Great. So next steps and resources. We are really happy to have a portal called Venturize. You can access actually ShyBiz Hub from Venturize as well, but we have venturize.org. It's a free online resource hub for small business owners. And so if you need tools or whatever to grow your business, some unbiased information, you can get it there on venturize.org. You can go there to venturize.org, or if you're looking for capital, go to venturize.org/access-capital. We have what's called a match finder feature on our portal, where if you're putting in the amount of money you're looking to borrow, we can help you find, there's something that will match you with lenders in your area, okay? So make sure you write down venturize.org. And then of course, these are hyperlinked. I hyperlinked these, but definitely make sure you sign up for BACP Small Business Newsletter. It's always chock full of resources. Go through their Entrepreneur Certificate Program if you haven't already. Attend the business expos. I had the pleasure of being at the expo last week, Saturday. It was phenomenal. It was well attended, very, very good quality. The BACP team, Geraldine and the BACP team really pulled that off. It was great. But make sure you network, participate in their network of regional and neighborhood centers for training, counseling, coaching, and funding opportunities. Okay. You were there Saturday. Great. Yeah, it was wonderful. So, shoot, I didn't take this date out. So venturize.org for help with funding. Definitely check out the Illinois Small Business Development Centers and the Women's Business Centers. I shared with you while I worked for the Women's Business Development Center. Definitely there are opportunities for you to access no cost or low cost advising. We do have some partners that we recommend, Pacific Community Ventures. They offer free remote assistance. The Community Reinvestment Fund, they can help you with finding access to capital. And there were some loans that were available. I'm sorry, this is outdated. I didn't catch this last bullet. But anytime that you're looking for COVID resources, you can still access that website to get some information. But the Back to Business grant is over. Sorry about that. That's over. All right. So get involved with us. Connect with us. Go online to smallbusinessmajority.org. Sign up for our newsletter. Follow us on Twitter or on Instagram. But we would love for you to connect with us. We do have our monthly newsletter. We're always looking for business owners who want to share their story with the media whenever we have media requests. If you want to do a letter to the editor or an op-ed because there's something that needs to be addressed, whether it's funding in your community or whatever, we'd love to hear from you so that we can help you draft that. We do have events. We have webinars just like this one and other resources too. So now we're at the point of questions, and I'm going to stop sharing. And I know there were some questions here in the chat, so thank you so much for all of that. I want to go to the question that Irma had. So let me start there. Irma, you asked, if you use a business credit card to pay for business expenses, does that count as using personal funds if in the beginning you're paying off the business card with personal funds? So what I would say is, if you are making, this is what I would say, if you're paying off a business credit card, I would write a check to my business, okay? And from my personal account, if it's $5,000, $5,000. So that comes from my personal account. I'm going to deposit that into my business account. That's an owner investment. Then from my business account, I can use that $5,000 to pay off my bill. But I wouldn't directly pay off my bill from my personal account to that business account. Did that make sense, Irma? Let me know if that answered your question. Okay. Thanks, Irene and Alina. I'm glad you guys found some, I'm glad you found this to be helpful. You're able to start it without a loan. Okay, good. Yeah.
I do see a few come in the Q&A. Where are those business plan templates available?
Where are they available? Definitely go to Google Business Model Canvas for the business model one. And let's go back to this other one. For the business model one, business model canvas, and then you can go to straightupbusiness.institute for the idea napkin. Straightupbusiness.institute for the idea napkin.
They're asking if you could put that in the chat, please.
Okay, sure. Okay.
Another question, is Allies for Community Business a good choice for borrowing?
I would say Allies is a great CDFI. You will have to make that decision as to whether or not they're great for borrowing for you, but they are CDFI. We work with Allies along with others. There's Greenwood Archer. The Women's Business Development Center is also a lender. So I wouldn't say that I prefer one over the other. You have to look at rates. You have to look at what type of loan products they have for you in order to make that assessment. Okay, let me give you this one for Straight Up Business. What other questions do we have?
If you guys can please put your questions in the chat, we'll give you a few minutes to get them down.
Okay, here's one. Let's get to the chat. I see, let's see the chat. Sample balance
sheets.
Okay, sample balance sheets. Any type of, I want to do business model canvas too. Business model canvas, sorry. Any Google search, you'll be able to find some. Also, Microsoft Excel has them as well. Let me tell you about the business model canvas. So for this example, there were different questions in the boxes. So if you go online, there'll be different questions. You can put so there'll be different questions in some of the boxes. So make sure that you are using a model that works for you. I'm going to give you all this one here. Okay. Let's do this one. And there's the lean business model on SBA's website. And so let's put this here for the business model canvas. And someone said about templates for, what was that? Templates for simple balance sheets. Okay. I think Microsoft Excel.
Great. And then there's another question.
Mhm.
Where would you recommend networking and meeting people as you are getting going?
Yeah. So the first place I would start, chambers of commerce. If you're looking for industry specific, then I would look for those associations that are industry specific. So let's just say the American Bar Association. I'm going all the way on the other end because that's what the first thing that came to mind. But I would look at an association and find out who else is there, who is in the same industry as I am. If I'm not really looking for someone in the same industry, then I would go to a chamber or any other type of business organization, such as the chamber, and any type of membership organization, because they'll have other business owners there. Templates, here we go, office.
Great. Another question for minority owned or partly owned businesses. What support is there in the area?
Oh, there's a lot of support. So it depends on what you're looking for. So Illinois SBDC, they definitely are helping minority owned businesses. And you can also contact me at tbrown@smallbusinessmajority.org. And I can send you a link to Venturize, smallbusinessmajority.org. But not only Venturize, I'll put that in here too, venturize.org. But also the Small Business Development Center. They have an amazing network. I worked in the Small Business Development Center, the Illinois Small Business Development Center network for 4 years, and it was great. I mean, I connected with other business advisors. I was certified as a business advisor, so I have a certification in it. And so you're able to get people who know what you need. They can tailor their comments to help your experience. So there are some in Woodlawn, South Shore, Inglewood. What's the south? It's on 95th and Halstead, near South. Is it near South? So anyway, on the south side. So they definitely have some centers over there to help. Oaklawn, well, these are all, well, I'm not sure what's in Oaklawn. I'm trying to give the city-based ones, so I'm not sure what's in Oaklawn, but 95th and Halstead is not too far from Oaklawn, if that helps. So put the balance sheet in there. Yeah, no problem. I'll put the balance sheet. I put the business model canvas, the idea napkin. Oh, and I really do want you all to see that budget document from the Women's Business Development Center. I gotta find it. Again, I worked for them. I liked it. It was very plain. Don't get me wrong. It wasn't anything very snazzy. But what I liked about it is that it was already formulated with what's called the formulas. Already formulated with the formulas. I couldn't get the word out. So that all you need to do is to put in numbers and you will see the rows change automatically. And so I loved it because I really wanted my clients to practice looking at what their cash flow would look like, or their budget would look like if they brought in a certain amount of money. And they noticed that if their expenses remain the same, that they will have to really make sure that they hit a certain number every month to be profitable. That's what it's about, being profitable and knowing your numbers. So if you're interested, just send me an email. It will take me some time to find it. If I can't find it, that means I have to ask one of my former colleagues to send it to me. So it might take a little time, but you can always find some type of template online to help you with your balance sheet, your cash flow statement, and your budget.
Great, thank you. If anyone has any other questions, can you please put them in the chat? We'll give you another minute or so.
You're welcome, Alina. Oh, the one on it's a Illinois. Let's see, Illinois Small Business Development Center on 95th. It's off of 95th. I think it's near South. Let me just see. Near South SBDC. What was the name of it? It wasn't the South. Oh, what was this one right here? No, that's not the one. I'll find it. 1 second. What is the name of that one? I cannot remember the name of that one. Send me a message and I'll send it to you. It really is escaping my mind. I cannot think of the name of it. Because it's a little further south than 95th Street. I want to say maybe 101st. It might be 101st in Halston.
Hey, Jeremy, do you have a copy of your comment from the expo?
It's not coming up. I'll find it. And the Instagram, yes, 1 sec. Instagram, let's get that. Small business majority. Let me see, how is it written? How is it written? Small business majority. I'll put it in the chat. Okay, small business majority, got it. Okay. All right, I'm having some problems. Are you there, Geraldine? Did I disconnect myself? Let's see. There we go.
Yeah, you're good.
At small biz majority. That's for both Twitter and Instagram. Yeah,
Great, thank
SML
you.
biz majority. Okay.
Any other questions? We'll give it one more minute.
Don't forget the library, you all. Very good resource. I did have someone from Chicago Public Library come and do a webinar for me some time ago, and they have so many amazing resources. The databases are fantastic, and someone is there to help you understand what's happening in the different communities. So please take advantage of that free resource. Okay, yes, I'm glad you were there. And who was the one who vouched for me? Thank you for telling us about the 4th floor. Let me see, where's her name? I have to go up here and see. She checked in on that. Yes, Jessica. Thank you. Jessica checked in for us. So on the 4th floor. All right. Oh, great. Thank you for that, Feltus. Thank you. Yes, the Women's Business Development Center financial template on the website. I loved it. Again, it's very basic, but it helps you. I mean, it will give you what you're looking for, so everybody know your numbers. Well, if nothing else, thank you all so very much for your time. Geraldine?
Well, thank you so much for a great presentation, great information. Thank you everyone for attending. Wishing everyone a safe and happy weekend.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you, Jessica. Thank you all. Have a good one.